I know where to be found. Remember, there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe away
your tears away.
Oh, yeah.
And
if your heart is broken, is that the words?
yes.
Just lift your hands and say,
Hey,
oh, I know that. Okay, we were dead. Anyways.
You
Can
can make it.
Go ahead.
I know that I can say.
No matter what.
No matter what, make up my way. My life is in your hands.
Woo! Jesus. Anyways, okay. Okay.
Take it. In Him I know I can stand. No matter what, make up my way. Sing it, baby.
My life is in
your hands.
Amen. Welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to another video of Let's Talk About It with Liberty Brown Mapukwe.
Say it again. What is that surname?
But they heard me the first time.
What's that surname?
Mapukwe.
She said.
This is my wonderful, lovely, handsome, amazing husband who is with me today for this episode, because we are going to be talking about something very fun. Is it fun?
Yeah, I would say it's fun.
Relatable.
It's relatable. It's an experience.
Sure. Yeah. So introduce yourself, honey.
Yeah, guys. So as you've seen me before on the channel, name is Daniel Mabugwe, and now this is Liberty Brown Mabugwe, right? So you guys already know me, you know.
Do they?
What else can I say?
I don't know.
I mean, we just got married, the most amazing thing ever in life, right? I don't want to say all the update details because you probably have to tell your subscribers exactly what it is. I'm not going to flesh out too much, but I'm just happy to be here.
Aw, I'm happy to be here too. Okay, guys, so today on Let's Talk About It, we have a wonderful, near and dear to our hearts topic. And I don't know, how would we describe this topic? Like, what are we really talking about? We are talking about, as Daniel said, we got married. So, to be precise, when we're filming this video, we have been married for 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months now. We were engaged for...
Gosh, we were engaged for, I think, I would say 1 year and 5 months. Okay, so like a year and a half-ish. Year and a half. We were engaged. Year and a half, yeah. And what we want to talk about is our engagement process. Yes.
Because... yeah, I think that process is one we will never forget. Or it was not process, but season is one we will never forget. But it was also, I think, one of the most one of the biggest turning points in our relationships. Obviously, you're engaged to be married. Now it's no longer like dating, figuring out, can you spend the rest of your life with this person? It's not boyfriend, girlfriend. Like now this is like you are entering into a season of knowing and intentionally knowing that you will be marrying this person. So we want to talk about it, bring our experiences, what we felt, that we learned the most in this season. And I think I brought Daniel on this one because I think it's just so nice to hear. When we talk about it, we talk about it all the time. It's nice to hear a male perspective and then a female perspective and like it coming together. We have different upbringings, we have different backgrounds, and I think it all is just very applicable to, I think, even how our engagement process came along. So I don't know, where should we start? First of all, is engagement even like in the Bible? Or did we like make it up?
I personally don't think it is. I don't think it is. But I mean, like, there's even I think.
Wait, guys, comment down below if it's
like you can correct us if
no. Wrong, remember?
Would they be? Is it?
Remember when like Mary, the angel came to Mary? She was engaged to Joseph.
Okay.
So they weren't even married yet. That's why Joseph was like, huh? Like when she
found out that she was a child.
Right. Yeah. So they were engaged. So I feel like it's not something we see often in the Bible, but maybe it was like it's a thing back then, like to be engaged, to be married. Anyways, it just came to my mind of like.
I think it's dating that's the part that's not necessarily in the Bible.
Which is interesting, and that's something to talk about too, because we have dating in today's day and age or whatever. We have dating, and then we have engagement, then we have marriage. We don't see a lot about dating in the Bible, so it does, like, like back then it's kind of like, oh, I like you, will you marry me right away? And then you're engaged, and then you just, like, that's kind of weird. Like, I gotta get to know you. I'm sorry, we need to go. I need to know a couple things first, honey, before I'm like, yeah, let's date, and I mean, let's get married or whatever. But anyways, that's not the process we're talking about. We're talking about our engagement process, because yes, I think that we learned so much in that season. I knew I was gonna marry Daniel before he proposed.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Girl, I knew I was going to marry you from the day I literally came across and saw you. I literally knew that I was going to marry you from that time.
That's true. That's true. You were very certain from the beginning. So I knew I was going to marry him. I didn't know, like, the exact time frame. We would talk about it a lot, but we wouldn't really, it wasn't like we said we are actually going to be engaged for a year and 5 months. Like, I think it just happened that way. But when he did propose, he proposed in December 2023. I remember.
16th.
Yes, December 16th, 2023.
16th of December.
It was so beautiful. It's not an engagement story, but it was so beautiful. He set up the whole entire, you wouldn't even think it was a basement, but the whole basement, and it was like with drapes. I didn't think it was the basement. I thought we were going out for our 3-year anniversary. So, little tip there, we were dating for 3 years before he proposed. I thought we were going out for our anniversary. He said, "Oh, I forgot my phone. Please help me find it. We're gonna miss our reservation." Walk into the room, boom, propose. Will you marry me? I was like, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
And then, yeah, it was everything I could ever picture and more. I don't know. Was it the same for you? Like, that moment, that day?
I would say that moment was, I put in so much in terms of just prepping for it and making sure that this is like the most spectacular thing that you could ever think of, despite where I was living. Let's say where I was living was bad or anything, but I was trying to make the most out of what I had then.
You did really well.
Right?
Real well.
So shout out to coordinator Olivia. Also coordinated our wedding too. But I think just the planning that took place and also the prayer, I was documenting everything too.
Yes.
And I think you, yeah, I think you only showed the other video on the channel, right? The main one.
Yeah. So not on Let's Talk About It or whatever, but it's in there. I do have a video where I did show that clip. I think it's like that day when we went to go like vet for hotels and stuff. So if you guys want to see the engagement video, go down. Scroll down to some old videos before Let's Talk About It was a thing. But yeah.
Exactly. So I think that happened, and yeah, the most amazing. You asked me how it felt like.
Like if it was everything you imagined.
I think it was everything that I imagined and even more. I was just smiling throughout the whole process, seeing her face, how clueless she was. I think that brought even more joy because I was trying to coordinate out how it was gonna work. I was trying to figure out how it was gonna work. But it just worked out really perfectly.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And leading, like, the days after was amazing. Like, it's like that feeling of like finally, especially when it's like the right person, you have that finally feeling. You have like, let's do this. It's just such an overwhelming feeling of joy and just like a big thank you, Lord. Amazing. Right? Telling our family and our friends was the best. It was great, I'd say. But then, well, I guess when what should I say? When the shock of it passed.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now you're kind of thinking like, okay, what's next? Like, what is our wedding gonna look like?
Exactly.
What is getting to that thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's a thing that a lot of, particularly women, I'm sure men think about it too. We have an idea of maybe how that season's going to be.
Exactly.
And then there's the reality of how it really is. And if your idea and your reality match up perfectly, then like wonderful, like thank the Lord. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. For us, I don't think it entirely went that way, at least not at the beginning of our engagement. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. So we had after engagement, as my wife was saying, you have your idea of what you'd like your wedding to be like, right? So we had an idea to go and have a destination wedding, right?
Yeah.
So okay, just planning, just thinking, okay, these are all these resorts that we could go to. Is it going to be Dominica? Is it going to be Jamaica?
Remember we booked like a travel planner.
We had a travel planning agency as well.
Put down the deposit and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So we put out a deposit. We were like all set to go and set to do all those things. Now, when you bring this to the table with your family, right? It starts to become a different idea because their expectation is also different. You know?
Well, I think that's one thing that we didn't know was going to be the case.
We didn't think that was going to be a problem.
That when we got engaged, we're thinking we're planning our wedding.
Exactly.
But maybe family might be thinking, well, no, we also want to stay in it too. So that was a shock for us. And also, I think we'll also talk about it later because just to give more backstory, we're not going to go too much into detail because we're past all of that now and everything is fine. But not to give too much detail, but essentially, like what Daniel's saying, you did want the destination wedding, but maybe family had different ideas. But also, I think you and I both had different understandings of what it would mean, like what family involvement would mean in our process.
Exactly.
Right? So.
Exactly. So, and two different kind of families. I understand, like you were talking about, two different type kind of families. I'm African. She's Jamaican.
No, what does that mean? When you say you're African, African is a whole entire continent.
So I'm from Uganda. I'm Uganda. Yeah. I'm Ugandan by nationality. So there are specific customs and ways that of marriage that take place. So there's the traditional way, right, where you have the traditional marriage at first, and families come. The man's side also comes and also gives the negotiates with your uncles, right? So those, for all the Africans out there, similar kind of thing, um, giving gifts, and then you're asking for her hand in marriage, right? But since we're here in Canada, we did it in a slightly different way, where but we still had my family come over to actually see her family, which was nice. Important, right? Because I even believe from your perspective that was so totally important of our family's first meeting, right? Even before they meet, you don't want them to meet for the first time, and it's at the wedding. You know what I mean? So I think there's that cultural element.
How did that cultural element impact post engagement, like that process, like for you on your end particularly, like as the guy, with the culture element where you're marrying a woman who doesn't necessarily have that cultural aspect. My culture is more, and I wouldn't say culture because I'm sure other Jamaicans might do things differently, but as Jamaicans, it's just be respectful. I am a Christian, so have a relationship with the Lord, and that's just how we do things. I didn't really have with like, okay, this needs to take place, then this, like, I didn't really grow up with that, but he did. So I guess the question would be like, on your perspective, how did that cultural side impact your experience post wedding, like post engagement?
Post engagement, yeah. I think in my mind, right, I thought of I'm living in a Western country, right? Not to say that not to say if you're in the West, you're not also practicing some of the customs that you are part of your culture, but looking beyond culture and looking at family dynamic, in my family, right, I thought there was just going to be a thing of, okay, we're coming, gonna have we already met as a family, we're gonna just have a white wedding, and that's just what it is.
I hate that term, white wedding.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Not because you said it. I just like don't like the term because it's like.
Okay, I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand. But we're gonna just have a wedding, right? Not a customary one, but actual the wedding, going to church and having our wedding, and then that was it. Now, from the perspective of it being a destination wedding, we thought, okay, that's all cool. We're all gonna come together as a family and
go on the beach.
Go on the beach somewhere, and XYZ, and that's just what it is.
Have fun.
Cool. Now, coming to the expectation of family, now there was an expectation on my side of there being a thing of, okay, these are the number of people who want to come. I know everyone probably goes through this. These are the people who want to come, and also as well with the caveat or the requirement of there being it having to be at a church, right?
Yeah.
So at a destination, I think for my family, they probably thought of it as a way of like, okay, you're going to a destination. This is
when you get married on the beach.
Yeah, when you get married on the beach, this is a bit different for us, right? But then for me, it was like, well, that was what we want.
Yeah, right? It was definitely a big battle between, well, we're the ones getting married. It will be our memories.
Exactly.
Versus okay, respecting what family would want. And that's a big topic. When
Huge
you're
topic.
getting married, how much say should family have? Now, I think it's really up to the individuals to decide how much say family should have. I personally think that family should feel respected. Um, but like that's just me. So it was definitely a big battle between, okay, um, this is what we want, but this is what our family is saying. My family also felt like, well, why don't you get married in a church still? So the plan was like, okay, well, why don't we do like a little small thing at a church here, and then we go into the destination wedding, because there was a number of factors of why we wanted a destination wedding. We love a beach. We wanted a vacation. We wanted more for our money. It was cheaper. Okay, that was his number one. It was way cheaper. So we were just like, this doesn't make sense. Like, we don't have like the 40, 50 bands or whatever, like $1,000 that it takes in Canada to like have the kind of wedding that we would want, right? So we were just so confused of like, isn't cost a big factor? Like, here we're gonna be paying for it, so why not? Like, why wouldn't we just go with what makes more sense, and you get more for your money? All your loved ones on an island. That's exactly what we wanted. But then, as Daniel was saying, we hit that. Um, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a conflict, but we hit that like, okay, this is different, because we didn't know that our family expected to have so as much as of a say, I think, exactly, as they expected to have. Exactly. Right? Now, I think even just reverting it back to our specific process and what happened between me and you, we're not going to lie. We're going to be very honest and vulnerable here. It ended up causing conflict between him and I. Now, and this is why I think, now that I look back on it, especially marriage counseling and stuff like that, helped me understand this, was when now dating is fine. Now you're engaged to be married. Now this is like your first like project with your partner, like big massive project with your partner. This is now where you're going to pick up on little things on how your partner like really processes things, how your partner handles conflict, especially with people that they love, how your partner goes about certain things, how your partner speaks when there's a little bit of pressure, all of those things. And the reason why I say that I think we saw conflict was not because there was actually anything internally wrong with how you did things or how I did things, but I think we grew up very different. We did. Right? I grew up in a household where I was very vocal. I could voice my opinion and say what I wanted to say. I mean, how I said it definitely mattered, but I was definitely grown up with like, have a backbone, like say what you want to say when in a respectful manner, and stand up for yourself in that way. Very expressive. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about of like your background of how you kind of grown up, and then we'll explain the kind of how it played into maybe some of the conflict you and I ended up having. Yeah. So on my side, grew up in a way whereby the level of communication, I say, between parents is something that is just normal levels of communication. If there was anything that you probably maybe disagree with your parents about or whatnot, probably not the most discussive kind of space, right? So it's like typically whatever your parents were saying, that's probably what it was. Right? Like do what they say. It's like do what you say, but in a way whereby, okay, my dad said it, that's just what it's gonna be. Yeah. Right? And it's almost like you're not really getting into any kind of arguments. But now when you get older and you start to realize that this is the person who I'm taking to form a family with, something had to click within me, right? Which was counter to how I grew up. Right? Yeah, and that's deep, that's big, and that could maybe if there's a lot of men in that situation. Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean there's probably quite a few people like, oh, you sometimes you can't tell your mom no. Yeah. You can't tell my whatever no. Yeah. But or not necessarily tell them no, but say like, hey, but actually I actually desire something. I desire this. Like, right. Aha. Yeah. So like sometimes you'd think, oh yeah, like you could just say that. And of course, I've had those moments in moving out of the nest and starting to live by myself. There was always that pushing and tugging, but then it eventually they became an independence, right? But now when it comes to wedding, whereby now from the perspective of my family, where it seemed as like, okay, this is a family thing, now their say is something that holds a weight, which I agree to in parts, but also there's going to be some space for the husband and wife to be able to do what they would want to do themselves. True. But going back to your point, from my perspective,
a little bit more tough or tense because now you're getting into a headbutt between you and your parents because you are respecting and honoring your wife, right? Yeah, before you even married, but it's already showing the it's almost how do I say
training ground
has started to becoming the leader of your own household.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that and then I was gonna just add, or sorry, like I was gonna like put or integrate into that where you are starting to learn now what it's going to mean to now essentially be that leader of the home.
Yeah.
This is engagement, right? So I think that's even a misconception we maybe had. We're thinking, okay, the leader, submissive, whatever is that whole aspect, headship, submission, husband, wife thing is going to start when we get married. No, it starts before that.
Before.
And if you ask me, I think it even started before engagement. Yeah. But now an engagement is where you're really going to see it on an intense level, right?
Exactly.
So I think with you learning that and that training ground picking up for you so quickly, like literally one day it was this and then the next day it's like, oh snap. And then me growing up of no, like say what you want to say when you want to say it and like, just be careful and be mindful of how you want to say it. It caused us to butt heads because at first it didn't click. It didn't click like hold on liberty. He's learning what it means to, take that position. He's learning what it means to if his parents say one thing, how do I push back on that, right? And on the same and me, I'm now going into like this deep thought process of like, oh wait, is this the man who I thought? Is he going to be able to stand up for our family? Like, what's going to happen? Or is it going to just be like whatever? And, like, even put parents aside, is it just going to be like whatever anybody says it goes? Like, will he be able to have that confidence, right? Like as women, I shouldn't say as women, I should speak for myself, but a lot of women, we don't want to feel like we're going to always have to be the ones to speak up. We're going to always have to be the person to say no. We're going to, you want to feel like a sense like, my husband's got this. Like, he's like, you want to feel that trust, right? So I think with me feeling that way, but then him also going through his own process of like, this is very new. Not only am I taking on this leadership role for the very first time in this way, but also I didn't grow up like vocal like you like that's what you would be saying to me, right? Like you didn't grow up vocal like me, so you were learning a lot of new things very quickly, very soon, and it's hard to do it so quickly, do it well on the first get-go, because when all this is happening, right, he's not only getting backlash from me, he's getting backlash maybe even or thoughts or worrying about what does my family think, right? He's worried about what does his family think. He's worrying about what does he think. He's worrying about what I'm think. There's so much going on in the man's head. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of stuff going on for the woman too, but I think that that's definitely what caused a lot of conflict in the beginning for us, because we were both processing things for the very first time in different ways, right?
Yes.
So then we would start having arguments of like, why can't you why can't you just like say what you want to say? Or even if he would try to say what he wanted to say, maybe sometimes he wouldn't say it in the right way. So now it caused even further problems where because you're learning like how to express what you want in your voice and whatever, maybe sometimes you would have done it too harsh or not harsh enough because he's learning, right? And that's something I had to learn with you at the beginning. It didn't happen right away. Like I said, we butt heads a lot to a point where we thought like, oh my gosh, like can we marry each other or is this just gonna be a problem? Like let's be real, we really thought like is this might be a problem because how can we live our lives like this where I wasn't as understanding as I could have been, and maybe there were things on your end where could have gone a little bit better so that it would be a less stress. But we're here now, praise God. We said I do.
Praise Jesus.
But that's just one thing we want to encourage y'all with is, and there might be some people out there who experience the same things, that clash in culture, that clash in, okay, now this is what it really means that two are going to become one.
Exactly.
Right? I think that, or you can tell me what you think, like in terms of, we'll continue with our story in terms, because it wasn't always like that. It obviously got better over time. We were able to find that balance. We did our marriage counseling ASAP. I think that's what delayed our getting married, right?
It did, but I think to that point, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I think that marriage counseling was a huge turning point.
Yes.
Right? Because you start to really we're not the first to be married, right? There's different things that we were learning along the way, And in terms of understanding position, we really had some really good mentors who really were able to guide us and show us this is just what it is. And also as well, even more helpful, others saying that, hey, I've also been through the same thing too.
Oh, yes.
Right? So
that really helped us.
That helped us a lot.
Yeah.
To know that you're not the only one
Yeah.
who has gone through that with family it helps, right? So I think that's one thing that really helped. But marriage counseling, we cannot speak about it enough.
To do it.
Especially when you go to a really good church with people who care to give you that level of counseling. And we've been experiencing that actually along the way, right? But I think marriage counseling is so key because in terms of understanding, how do I approach my parents? How do I approach and speak to her? How do I say, how do I defend her? And one thing that was really said even in marriage counseling, it's important to understand that the people who are going to be involved in this thing called marriage, there's a circle between me and her, right? That is formed. Everybody out of that circle is external, right? So, and I know it's hard to say that with family, but it is. It becomes a thing where it's external because it does say in the Bible, a man will leave his parents and become one with his wife, enter into a covenant, leave and cleave with God and his wife, which is important, right? So that doesn't mean just, okay, what if my parents say I'm not listening to them? But you balance it out in a way where you first putting her as the first priority. Then you start to assess the situation and say, what is it that, is this information that my wife needs to hear? How am I protecting my wife in this whole process, right? And balancing it out in a wise way, in a way with wisdom, to know that you're doing it with a level of godly wisdom. And I think that is where through marriage counseling, you can probably even tell me, but I think our lives with God became deeper, right? Our relationships with God became deeper because we started really going to a really good Bible teaching church, right? One where they were really educating us and teaching us the Word of God, and the principles of God, and also what is the battle between not even the battle, but what is the discussion between culture and kingdom, right?
It was timely because I wouldn't say we weren't going to a Bible believing church before, but what the church we're going to now is exactly.
It was time for our season.
It was what we needed in our season for sure. And you're right, and you actually answered the question that I was going to ask of what would you tell somebody who's also going through that same situation where that cultural clash or that clash of oh my goodness, I feel like I'm transitioning and learning so much at once, and I didn't think it was going to be this way, because maybe there might be people who have this idea of what it's going to be. So many people aspire to be engaged for that will you marry me moment. So many of us think about it and we have a certain image of how it's going to be, but the reality is, and what marriage counseling definitely helped us get on track with, is really understanding what that means. Exactly. What does it mean when the love of your life gets down on that knee and says, will you marry me? When you say yes, what does that yes mean? Because it's not just picking the favorite color for your venue or sorry, your favorite color for your wedding. It's not just picking your favorite cake. It's not just picking your bridesmaids and your bridesmaids dresses. No. It is so much more that you have now started this process of becoming one flesh. And it is hard. Let's be real. It can be difficult. You will go through different thought processes. We were being vulnerable and saying, we almost broke off the engagement. We almost were absolutely not. This is not it. This is not what we thought. Thinking where did this come from? There was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, so when we did marriage counseling, absolutely do it. You do not have to wait till you're married. You don't even have to wait till you're engaged to do marriage counseling.
Do it.
Just do it. Do it. Honestly, do it. So after we did marriage counseling and we started having a better understanding of each other's situation more, tell you can start or whatnot with what how did it change, that turning point? Because for me, I know that I'm not going to go too much detail, but I know that there was that moment that we both had in the car, remember?
Yes. Remember? Yeah, I remember that.
When I literally, something just was clicked, where it was just oh my goodness, I know that this man does not mean to like make me feel how I feel right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I just saw, like when we had that like moment or whatnot, it just clicked where it's like, Liberty, you need to have more grace. Like you need to have more grace for what it means for the man to leave and cleave for real, because it sounds easy, it sounds like two words, but it is a process that's hard. And marriage counseling also helped me like to have more grace. I know I still have a long ways to go and a long road ahead of me, but yeah, like what is something that you learned of what it meant to leave and cleave post marriage counseling that kind of, I don't know, it turned things around for us. I mean, we started with the wedding planning and everything. Like,
yes, yeah. Yes. Nah, I think leaving and cleaving, like, it meant, oh my gosh, it just literally meant, I think coming to terms with having a discussion, which is important, with family, and telling them that, okay, you know what, I hear your point, I hear your side, right? But then this is also our side, and saying the one thing is that you have to face it, right? Especially when it comes to those tension points that you're having, you might have with family, you got to face it and say that, hey, this is the direction that we're taking our household, right? You as our family, we need your support, right, in it. But it took me some time to get to that point. After marriage counseling is the part that helped, right? And then once we got to that point and saying, okay, now family, it might be a tough conversation, right? But that conversation has to be had, because then there'll be an understanding that comes within your family eventually. If your family is one who are also hearing from God, and also the same family that does pray, trust me, this is something that we prayed, and it was an answered prayer, where there was an understanding that a common ground would come, and our common ground did come. Yeah. Right? Because we were following we're doing it the kingdom way, right? Where we said, okay, which is
what?
The kingdom way is okay, sure, honoring your father and mother, also leading and cleaving to be with your wife, but also doing all of this, which is tough, but in still being respectful and honoring, but also being very communicative, right?
I would also add, we were very prayerful during our process.
That's a huge one.
We prayed every single day for our
That's a big
in
one.
the car. Like if you were taking me to work or whatever the case is, like we would pray over it.
Exactly. I think definitely number one, praying, and also really, oh yeah, love. My gosh.
Sorry.
Praying and also understanding that we had to reestablish. This might be a word, but create a new altar, basically, right?
Okay.
I wasn't trying to throw that in there like that, but
you threw it.
Create an altar.
Let's see if they catch it.
Unto God, right? So what that means, an altar is a place of sacrifice, where you bring something and bring it before the Lord, and then He's able to honor that, right? So it's something that some things that need to be changed, right? In your life or in your household or whatnot, they might just be altars that were created before you were even came to existence or born or done by other people, where it's causing a pattern of unsettling, right? So what has to happen to break all of that, where there might be disagreement with family or disagreement in decision making, disagreement with your wife, is to create an altar.
A new altar.
A new altar.
But what we don't want to communicate though is that if people are experiencing conflict, then that means it's an altar. Because I think too, what you're also trying to say is that like we had to go back into deeper things. So we're not saying that the back and forth or conflict was because of an altar, because that might sound like more spiritual. We're saying that it's important to use that season, that time, to figure out some of the deeper issues. Exhibit A.
Yeah.
Okay, why is Daniel acting a certain way? Why is Liberty acting a certain way?
Correct.
Where is it rooted in?
Where's the root?
Where is it? Because I could feel like my desire for you to like be a man and man up or whatever might come from, well, I'm nervous that I don't want to feel like I'm entering into a marriage where I'm gonna have to take that role, or I'm gonna be left to take that role because I grew up without my father in my life, and I don't want to I just want to finally be with a man who can just own up to his responsibilities, and I don't have to you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That probably could be rooted in okay, I grew up without my father, without a male role model in the home, yada, yada, yada. So now I'm scared that, oh my goodness, even though I have a wonderful man now who, is with me presently, I'm scared that was even going to be able to stand up for me in the emotional set. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So we had to dig back into those things and say, okay, that's something that needs to be torn
That's
down.
good. Yeah.
Like, that's something that needs to be uprooted so that I can now like show up with a fresh level of grace. Yeah. I'm not going to now be like pulling on the fact that I think that, oh my goodness, you're not manning up because da 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 da. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's even like what you're trying to even communicate with. Like, for us, some altars had to be torn down, whether cultural, whether emotional, things like that. We had to tear them down, uproot it. We had a close circle of friends and pastors truly to pray with us through it. And once we tore them and uprooted them and identified them, then we were able to create our altar.
Exactly.
So like what me, like the Mabugwe's altar is going to look like. What is now going to be our method of doing things, our way forward, that fresh place of like, okay, Lord, now we sacrifice this wedding onto you. We sacrifice this marriage onto you. Have your way now. We're just getting rid of all the underlying things. And we're saying, have your way, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was very deep, and I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think to bring it
I
up.
know.
Because I think it's not a place where people think. And this brings me back to, and this is why this is called Let's Talk About It, because we need to talk about these things.
Yes.
It's not about, yes, the picking your favorite napkin color and all of that stuff will come, but when you start off with that foundation of really knowing what you are going to get yourself into, what marriage means, and what God calls marriage to be, like that is what is important. And that is what I'd want to encourage everyone to say, like, when God calls marriage, he's calling two to become one, to glorify him, to reflect him.
Exactly.
It is not going to just stop at the rainbows and roses and the candlelights. Granted, we had a beautiful wedding. It was not a destination wedding.
You loved it. Still.
It was not a destination wedding, so compromise had to come. And we did what compromise looked like for us. It was not a destination wedding. We got married right here in Toronto. Maybe I should insert some pictures or whatever, but maybe we'll see. But we got married right here in Toronto, a beautiful church. Because I said, you know what, if we're getting married here, then it's going to need a. Remember, I was like, it's gotta be like.
Oh yeah, it's gotta
give.
It's gotta give.
It's gotta give
royal.
It's just gotta give me and you.
It's gotta give. Yeah, it's gotta
right?
give.
So we did have a beautiful wedding, and picking the beautiful colors and a website and all of that stuff did come. But ladies and gentlemen, if you were out there and you were waiting for that season, I want to plead with you.
Yes.
To before you get to the wonderful glamorous stuff that we see on TikTok and Instagram and all of those things, please study on what it really means, like to become one, what it really means to get married. I just think that we all desire these things without really understanding what it really means. And then we get into it not prepared. True. With failed expectations and thinking like, this is not what I thought. You know what I'm saying? Or we start to envy people who we see have it and not actually know what they had to fight through or pray through or the hard discussions they had to have to even get there.
Yes.
And we had to ask ourselves, are we ready to delve into that before we pray about it? Because let me tell you, we're done picking the napkins, we're done picking the cutlery, we're done all of that stuff, and the real life has started.
Yes,
and I would not choose anybody else on this planet to do it with, because it's hard. It's not, it's beautiful and it's amazing, and yes, the wonderful times are absolutely there, but becoming one with somebody is truly a process, and I think that the Lord knows that, and that's why he does give us a lot of help of qualities and character to look for in a spouse.
True.
You know?
I agree with you. And even what you're saying, I think I always see this analogy as you were saying, marriage. The the wedding, let me say that. Marriage is the whole journey. The wedding, sure, is just a piece of which it has to slowly come into our minds that It is a day, right? Where you are being celebrated, and it's beautiful, right? But I think all that work that had to be done, that my wife was saying, is work that actually, by the grace of God, sustains you through the marriage, right? And that's something that we even pray for ourselves. It's something that it lays the foundation to sustain us, because of the day of marriage, of us coming before the altar, I'm going to use that word again, when we are coming three and unifying with God, it's like we're both dying to ourselves, right? And choosing to become one. That is not easy. And I understand it is the wedding is all the celebrations, all the fun, which we love so much.
It was a great day.
A great day.
Yeah.
But the symbolism of it is that you're saying less of me, more of her. Less of her, more of me. Less of us, more of him.
Ooh, that's preach.
Right?
Preach. That is a beautiful way to put it, honestly.
Exactly. We're submitting to each other. Yeah. I understand the whole topic of submission of whatnot, but you are choosing to say, I don't want to get into a whole conversation there, but I'm choosing to say, yes, I'm putting her before me and my needs. It's like we're trying to outserve each other.
No, but it's true though, because it did help. It did help because you would now try to think, how is Liberty feeling? How is Liberty feeling? And now I'm trying to think, like, give him grace, give him grace. So it balances. And then with the God in the middle, like, I would get dreams. I would get dreams of how to go about things, do things, warnings, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so. Jesus. But then you know what? I think it made me for sure appreciate, like, when those doors open and I turned that corner and I walked down that aisle, it was almost like it all just made sense.
Praise God.
It made me like just really understand what it is. It looked gorgeous. The process of planning it was fine, but I also felt like I had an understanding of oneness. Like, I looked at him and I was like, yes, like, that is my yes, period, point blank. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how much in the trenches we might be or whatnot, it just made sense. Like, I know what becoming one with somebody, I know what now I am saying yes to, So I think that for anyone who's aspiring for marriage, and you're waiting for your partner to pop that question, I implore you, I encourage you, use the time to really know why you're saying yes. When you walk down that aisle, when those doors open or whatever the case is, the Lord will, it's beautiful what happens. Our wedding day was honestly seamless. There was no like freak out on my end or anything like that. So don't let other people's like stories get into your brain. Don't let, when you commit everything onto the Lord, to the detail, God came through for us. One of the groomsmen, they showed up literally on the day of rehearsal as we were about to walk down the aisle, came all the way from South Africa, and he literally left the day after our wedding. And so that was a sacrifice and a half. And we love you, Crazy. Truly. But moral of the story is, you guys, when you put God first, seek first the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. And everything else will be added. And that includes your marriage. That includes your process. Because once we sought first what it truly meant to become one, and what God was really calling us into, everything else was really added.
It did. It was.
Everything else was really added. So that's my encouragement to you guys. Have the expectations or have the desires. It's okay to have the desires by all means, but as you desire, make sure you try to understand, God, what is it really that I'm really desiring, and what can I do now to make sure that later I can avoid the the roller coaster.
Yes.
Amen?
Yes. Amen.
Anything else? That's my scripture. Seek first the kingdom.
Seek first the kingdom, and yeah, I just agree with everything my wife says. Yeah. And since we started with a song,
oh gosh,
we're gonna end with a song.
What song though? Like, what even goes with this? Like, da 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 da.
No, the song that was in our wedding. Jesus, yeah. Hey, we have done it again. Jesus, yeah. In your special way, what was impossible, Baba, you made possible. Jesus, yeah.